All right, welcome to the Pinball Worksheet video series. There's going to be 7 of these videos, one for each worksheet. This is to help students who were absent during class or those who need to get caught up. Should be able to do this with just the worksheets, but I decided to make these to help those who have a hard time following and reading the directions. So I have the worksheets here. There's two for each one. I guess it would be one-page thing, double-sided, but shouldn't be too hard to follow along. If I go too fast, just pause the video and catch up, and then it'll work great. So that's the benefit of having a video. So enjoy. If it's too slow for you, then do it on your own. But you always have these videos as a resource to help you out. All right, so I'm just going to follow the worksheet and call it good. Anyway, if you don't have a Scratch account, you need to get it. You go to scratch.mit.edu and create an account. If you have trouble with that, then ask your teacher for help. Anyway, once you're in there, you're going to say create. All right, it starts out with a cat already on there, so just right-click on there and say delete. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna make a whole new sprite. We're gonna start out with the ball for our pinball. So click on this little paintbrush that says Paint New Sprite right there. Okay. Before we make the ball, we're gonna give it a name. We click on that little eye right there. See, there it is. Change the word sprite 1 to ball. That's easy. All right. And it says then go to the costumes tab, which the costumes tab is up here and it's already selected, so we're good there. Convert to vector. That might be hard to find if you've never used Scratch. It's way down on the bottom right over here. So convert to vector. Vector is a much easier method, I think, of drawing once you get the hang of it. All right. So the costume size should be 0, so make sure this is 0. If it's not, then something is drawn in there already and you need to delete it. All right, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You'll see how it gets in there. We want to make a circle. Now, if you hover over this, it says it's an ellipse, but if you hold down Shift, you get a circle. So you click on there, hold down Shift, and click and draw. Okay. Now, we want it to be about 30 by 30, and I drew this one 63 by 63. You can see it right there. So I'm going to make it smaller. A little bit more. There we go. And we want to center it. Okay, and if we zoom in, and you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to nudge it and get it perfect. So get it right there, centered, really nice and neat. And then you can decorate it. So just make sure as you're decorating it that you don't move it. Keep it centered perfectly. Okay. So I will change to the pink bucket and give it a color. Just make it red. And it says on the instructions that we want something near the right side so we can see which way it's pointing. Okay, so the front of it is on the right-hand side. I'm going to pick one of these colors again and let's see, black. And just make a quick arrow. Boom. And then boom. And boom. Okay, so there's an arrow on it showing which way it's pointing. The cool thing about vectors is it has these little dots that you can move and do stuff with. It is kind of weird to play with, but if you click on a dot, you delete it, and if you click in a place where there isn't a dot, it creates one. So you can move these things around and make it work out. Fortunately, it combined my 2 lines into one giant line, so it's being kind of weird. But I can do something like that to create an arrow. It doesn't have to be an arrow. I'm just doing an arrow to make it easy. Anyway, you can pause it and spend more time decorating yours, but I'm just going to move on. Okay. All right. All right. Now we need to go make ball actually move. So I'm going to go to scripts. So change the tab to scripts, and we're going to go to motion and make it so it can move. Okay. Now these are little tabs, programming tabs, and you can drag out and change and make it work. All right. Now the first thing we need to do is make an event handler. So when flag is clicked, so that means when this little flag is clicked. So when we start the game, we need to actually make this ball do something. All right, so I'm almost done with the first page already. This is fast, right? So it says when flag is clicked, have your ball move to a specific position on the screen and point in which direction you prefer. So where do I want it? Let's say I want to put it right in the middle of the screen. So if I go to motion, I say go to, okay, and it defaults to wherever your ball is. If you see this X and Y value here, it's the same as it is here. So it'll automatically put it where you have it. So if you put it where you want it and then drag it over, that works, or you can just come here and type it in. If I go 0, 0, then when I click the flag, boom, it's set in the middle of the screen. Now Scratch puts 0, 0 in the middle of the screen. That's not the same as most programs, so just know that when you do other coding in other situations, this is probably not going to be the case, but that's how it is in Scratch, so we'll use it. All right, so we also need another event for when the left and the right arrows are pressed. So I'm going to drag out two of these when space key is pressed. And I can zoom in here so you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit better. How about that? All right. So if you just click on this right here, we're going to change one to left and the other one to right. I'll put this one on the right and this one on the left. How about that? Okay, when the left arrow is pressed, we want the ball to turn. So that would be a motion thing. So we're going to have it turn left. And when we have it turn right, we're going to go right. How about that? And we can actually try that out. Hey, how about that? The ball is moving left and right. That sounds good to me. Okay. Now, if you click on it and you hold it down, it'll move, but it has a little bit of a delay there before it goes. And I do have a fix for that. I'll show you at the end of this video. You don't have to do it, but I think it works better. Anyway, okay. Next page. This is easy, right? Okay. Ooh, and now we need to control the speed of our ball. To do that, there isn't a thing called speed here. We just have move, so many steps, but we want to call it speed. We want to use what we call a variable. To do variables in Scratch, we go to the data area and we just say make a variable and we give it a name. We're going to call it speed. Okay? So just type in the word speed and we're going to only want the ball to see its speed. So we're going to say for this sprite only. That means other things won't be able to see that variable, only the ball. All right, so we need two more event handlers, one for the up arrow and one for the down arrow. Okay, so we already have the left and the right. So I want up and down. I'm going to put them in the up and down. How about that? So up arrow and down arrow. So I forgot to hit OK on that. Now we have a variable called speed right there. Okay, so I have the variable called speed, Now we have an up arrow and a down arrow to control that speed. Okay, so we're going to say when the up arrow is pressed, the speed will change by 1, and when the down arrow is pressed, we'll have a -1. Okay, so don't use set speed, use change speed. So change speed by 1, another change speed by 1, and make this one a -1. Right? Okay. Then it says to create an infinite loop under the when flag is clicked. Event handler by dragging a forever loop out of the control group. So we'll go to the control group and we need a forever. Okay, we'll put that on there. I'm going to scoot these guys out of the way. Way over here. All right. Keep in mind I'm zoomed in here. All right. Okay. Stick a move 10 steps command in the forever loop and replace the number 10 with the variable speed. So now move 10 steps would just, if I hit play on that, the ball would just constantly try to move at the speed of 10 always. But we want to be able to change this number. That's why we use speed instead. So if I put speed in there, now I can change my speed. Come on. Go up. There we go. So I use the up arrow to go forward, the down arrow go backwards, and I can turn. Isn't that lovely? Okay. All right, so that just gives us more control, and we can use the arrow keys to control it. And it works great. Okay. Now we want the ball to bounce, and somewhere in motion there's something there that'll help you. The worksheet wants you to find it, but it's pretty easy. If on edge bounce. Okay, right there, and you can see how if the ball goes towards the edge, it'll bounce. Yay, that's easy. Okay, now what happens if the speed becomes negative? If I go backwards, the ball won't bounce. So we can't use negative numbers in our program. So we need to modify our program so it can't go negative. We want to be able to slow it down, but we don't want to go negative. All right, so I'm going to stop that. Let's find our -1 code here. We're going to modify this. And so we're going to say if in here. And to do that, you go to control and we say if. Stick that in there. And we can go to operators. Okay. Pick this out. Yeah, let's put that up there. We can. What's really cool is you can drag this and stick it in there. Hey, how about that? So, if speed is less than 0. So if we go down, if we go less than 0, we don't want it to. So as soon as it tries to go under 0, then we should say, hey, make it 0. So where's our speed? Oh, that's in data, sorry. Go to data. We'll say set speed to 0. Okay, so if we're going fast, if we're going like 10 or we're going more than 0, then we can slow down. But if we're already stopped, we don't want to go negative. So if we try to go negative, it's just going to say, nope, go back to 0. So it should be able to, let's start the game here. Should be able to drive around and bounce. But if we try to go in reverse and hit the down arrow, it'll just come to a stop and not go. That is the end of worksheet 1, I think. And so it should be able to bounce around the edges, but not get stuck because it can never go in negative. All right, and once you're done with that, you're good to go.